potential threats to humanity. By taking one small step forward to change, we can make a real difference collectively. Now, first of all, I'd like to introduce to you my panel. We have Salon owner Nicola Clark and Fry Taylor, co-founder of Green Salon Collective, as well as the Hair Task Force, which is part of the Sustainable Beauty Coalition for the British Beauty Council. So we have Tabitha JK, CEO and founder of Tabitha James Kwan High Performance Hair Organics, Gina Conway, owner of Gina Conway Salons and Spas, and UK Trade Sustainability Ambassador for Aveda, and Anne Veck, Creative Director for Anne Veck Limited, Hairdressing Ambassador for the National Hair and Beauty Federation, and Brand Ambassador for Green Salon Collective, to name a few. So I'd like to start with Gina. So Gina, you are the founder of Gina Conway Salons, the largest sustainable salon group in the UK. One of your main concerns is about water shortage and conservation. What is happening to our water supply? And can you talk a bit about the carbon footprint regarding our wastewater?
Yes. Hi, everybody. Thanks for having us, Lisa. I just want to share with all of you that, water is a natural resource that we can so easily take for granted. So, what we need to consider is our carbon footprint. Do a shampoo, how we shower at home, but in our industry, without water, we really don't have an industry at all. And in South Africa, in Cape Town, actually, they did recently have a water shortage so dramatically that actually salons literally had to only trade for a couple of hours a day in order to keep the water restriction as small as possible. So on top of that, I worry that, because we are a large country and, we have, droughts we've lived through, we're going into climate change, who knows what the future could bring. And we just need to really look after our current resources that we have and make sure that we're constantly, conserving water. And I just to talk about your carbon footprint of water. There is a carbon footprint to the water that we get because it's already been treated. And so that takes a carbon footprint. And then once it leaves our drains, then it goes down and it becomes a drain on the, somebody has to treat that water as well. So that has a huge carbon footprint as well. So it's just thinking about the whole full circle of what we do.
Yeah. Brilliant. Thank you, Gina. Now, there are several organisations that deal with waste in the salon industry as well. So, Fry, you are the co-founder of Green Salon Collective, which is a B Corp recycling and education system. When did you start thinking about the problems with waste in salons, and what are the biggest problems that you're seeing now?
Yeah, thank you, Lisa. For me, it was being in the industry for such a long time. I was in a salon for 10 years myself. I then spent a further 10 years working for a large product manufacturer. So I got to see both sides of the waste issue. And during my time as an independent sustainability consultant, I was going to salons, I was seeing these issues and realizing that, in fact, there are solutions for many of these waste streams that we have. Just unfortunately, the infrastructure in the UK and Ireland particularly just doesn't allow for it. So that was really why Green Salon Collective came about. The big areas of concern for us are most certainly chemical waste, the metals, the aluminium foils and color tubes, and even hair. Like I was saying, you would never put a banana skin or an apple core into landfill. You would compost it to complete that life circle of food, and we should be thinking that way about hair as well. Across the UK and Europe, in the region of 75 million kilograms of hair ends up in landfill or incineration every year, and it's just not good enough. So we need to find circular economy solutions for all of those waste streams that I mentioned.
Thanks, Fry. So Tabitha, you're an environmentalist, and you've been a pioneering organic hairdresser for 24 years now. So you're leading the way in cleaning up and demonstrating what is possible. Many salons, you know, over 80%, I think, wouldn't have started their sustainability journey yet. We've just been through a pandemic. You know, what advice would you give them at the moment? Oh, you're mute. Oh, your mute's on.
Sorry, that would help, wouldn't it? Thank you very much for having me. I think, as you said, I've been doing this for a long time. What I've learned in my journey is that, you know, so many of the smaller things that we do make such a big difference. The one most important thing that we all have to recognize, and it's so poignant for us all having come out of the pandemic and the effects that we've all experienced on our businesses having to be closed for such a long time, the thing that makes us most sustainable, of course, is to be financially sustainable. So that is a really key part of how we operate going forward. So I'm really mindful of that on this journey. I think that it's important to understand that a lot of the things that we can do as salons will actually save us money. And so recognizing that changing towards being a more sustainable salon can reduce our water use, it can reduce our electricity use, it can, you know, reduce our electricity bills because we're simply using more economical equipment. If we're working slightly differently in the salon and we change the mindset of our team so that we're all having a better understanding, if this sort of agenda is in our salons and it's a conversation that we're all aware of, we all start to change the way we work in very simple ways that don't affect our creativity, don't affect our artistic license, but we get many more opportunities actually to really, you know, improve what we're doing. And we also we're in a really privileged position with our clients where we get to educate them too. So we can also transfer that on another level where we can give our clients lots of tips and ideas as well about how they can be more sustainable at home.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. So Nicola, you're starting to think about sustainability now as well, and because it makes economic sense, it's kinder to the planet and our future generations. Are you quite overwhelmed by it? I'm sure there's a lot of other salon owners and hairdressers that do feel overwhelmed by this. Can you tell us what your hurdles are, first of all?
Well, I suppose, like Tabitha said, you know, we're in a pandemic and we've been closed the best part of 2 years, out of business for 8 months. So obviously we're just all trying to stay above and keep everyone in jobs and, you know, basically get back on our feet. So I think it's hard not to turn on your TV and see what's happening in the world, whether you're in LA or, you know, India or here, you know, what with floods, droughts, all those kind of things. So I think just as a human being, I just think we have to start making some changes. And I do think, like, you know, like you say, Tabitha's been, you know, doing it for 24 years. Fry is, you know, got lots of experience. And I think just as an individual, it's quite overwhelming. And also as well, we just seem to deal with costs. And so I think for a lot of people, I think a lot of salon owners, I think it's just how much is it going to cost to be sustainable. And so I think that's just the panic and the worry, and also being completely overwhelmed with lots of information and knowing what the right thing is to do.
Yeah, thank you, Nicola. That was really useful, actually, because as I said, I'm sure there's a lot of salons in the same situation. So let's talk about the education now and the information and where people can go to get the resources that they need. And we've got some really brilliant action points that people can do easily and start right now. Gina, can you tell us why it makes economic sense in terms of even being you know, keeping the client and holding on to clients, because it's the direction that they're traveling in, and in other ways with sort of electricity and water?
Right. So as Tabitha said, you know, you're using less energy because you've changed your lights to LEDs, and that's got a far smaller footprint than the old style. And so you're using less, your costs are reducing there. You've been able to innovate the way that you use water, for instance, moving to just one shampoo per guest, you know, and doing a really good shampoo. And we've created a way of shampooing hair using an eco shampoo concept where we just put some shampoo in a bottle and hot water and shake it up, and it makes a lovely foam, and we put it on the dry hair and then shampoo. It gets wonderfully clean as well, only using one rinse. So being able to innovate through everything that you do. And one of the key things that we've all done is, you know, before we purchase anything, we think about, do we need to purchase that? Can we just fix it? Can we renew it? Can we recycle it? Can we buy something that's upcycled? You know, really thinking about what our end of the life is of whatever it is that we're purchasing. So if it's a coffee machine is broken, well, in the old days, you'd just go out and buy £1,000 coffee machine, but nowadays that's super expensive, and we'd rather just renew it. So we'll pay £200, we'll get that new coffee, you know, that coffee machine fixed, and we won't be putting that into landfill. So if you add all of these little things up in the end, you know, actually these actions are actually saving us a lot of money as well. It's brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely. So Anne, you've just written a salon resource toolkit with your partner, Keith Mellon. Now this is available on Instagram and it's free, and it basically has loads of amazing actions that people can take to make salons more sustainable. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yes. Hi. So thanks, Lisa, for having me on board. So yeah, during the first lockdown, Mike, Keith and I, that's what we did. We've always wanted to do, we've always been doing lots of things on the sustainable line, but the information it's out there, but it's really difficult you waste a lot of time finding the information. And as a salon owner, the one thing you don't have a lot is information and time. Sorry, it's time. So we've put together this guide, is in its 3-part. So one is sort of quick fix, things you can do today. Sort of turn the tap off when you're emulsifying a shampoo. That you can do today. Is very easy. Then the next part is things which takes you a little bit more effort, but not that much. Changing to LED light, that's not much of an effort. And then the third part is more a bigger thing. So if you're going through a salon refurbish, what can you do? Where can you source the paint which will be less toxic? Where can you get the furniture which are made in a sustainable way? So this guide, and we've also tried to make this guide brand free. Really, we've looked at every aspect, because I think this is bigger than whatever brand you're using, really. And just to put it all in one document, and that's really to make people's life easy.
Yeah, that's so helpful, and I'm sure it would be downloaded loads in the next couple of weeks, because that's really helpful for people. Now, Fry, you've got some exceptionally innovative processes where you do things like clean up oil with hair. You generate clean energy using discarded PPE. You compost salon towels. In practical terms, what do you do for salons, and how do they sign up to your waste program to start with?
Yeah, so we have 4 different services for salons and freelancers. We have the recycling system, which involves giving salons different separation bins for their waste stream. So one for all of your hair, one for all of your foils and color tubes, for example. So we can take any waste streams that you want to give us. We also have an education platform. So we have videos available to members that get updated quite regularly. We do live sessions with guests, and we have lots of articles and things on our website too. We also have an accreditation, which we're quite proud of. It's the only accreditation that is independently verified by a change agency. It looks at the sustainability, but also the ethics of a salon. So it goes into things that you wouldn't necessarily expect that are related to sustainability, but in fact are things like your staffing policies, your marketing policies, who you bank with, food and drinks that you serve. All these things will be a part of your overall picture. And then lastly, we have a carbon offsetting. So we're able to offset the emissions of an average stylist as well. So those are our 4 key services: recycling, education, accreditation, and offsetting.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'm sure it makes a lot of lives easier. And do you think the accreditation is essential moving forward?
Yeah, I think the accreditation is a really great place to start. I think doing basically an audit of your business is a really good way to start, because it highlights those, like Anne said, those easy wins, those low-hanging fruit. And as I always say, low-hanging fruit is still fruit. So it's still nice to be able to tick off those things nice and early, but the accreditation will give you a roadmap of things that you can work towards. So not everything can be changed overnight, but simple changes like you said, like your lighting, your water, food and drink, recycling, those kind of things can actually be changed overnight. So yeah, the accreditation is great for people starting out, but it's also great for people that want some details and they want a plan for their future.
Yeah, amazing. Thanks, Fi. So Gina, your team has certification from the University of Southampton. What process did you have to go through for that? And am I right in thinking it's free?
Yes. The Professor Bodden has created a sustainable stylist certification and sustainable salon certification. It's very simple to do. It's about 20 minutes. It's interactive, it's educational, and at the end of it, they'll just understand a lot more about how to save the resources, and talks about the plastics and using heat and all of the things that add up to a carbon footprint, or reducing your carbon footprint. So everybody in my salon has to take this sustainable salon certification.
Yeah, that's amazing. And there's also another accreditation called the Good Salon Guide. Is that right? Yeah.
I'm not sure. I think so. I think they do something as well. Yeah.
And now I think it would be really good if we could just go through some of the real sort of action points that people watching this can take sort of straight away. So switching to green energy. Tabitha, who are you with energy-wise? Oh, your mic's off.
Darn it, sorry about that. I use Octopus Energy currently.
Right.
I'm also in talks with them because they're currently interested in talking to us as the hair task force for the Sustainable Beauty Coalition, because they want to support us in how we can help collectively as the industry, how we can actually move over to green energy. So that's part of the work that we're doing behind the scenes to really try and see, this whole idea that we're stronger together. This is sort of external of brands. This is about the work that we can all do by all making small shifts, as an industry changing to green energy. Look at the difference that would make. There's a lot of us.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. But green energy is one area. Shifting to things, thinking about, Fry referenced, the challenging things are foil use, foil and color tubes, things like that. So for color waste is also another challenge. So thinking about how we color, thinking about, how much product we're using, being really careful with our measurements. A lot of salons that are thinking this way are starting to put, having some kind of container in your mix area, so you can actually have the salon team see how much waste you're creating. It's often quite shocking, and that alone can be quite a stimulus for the team coming together to make that less, because what are you going to do with it next? All of these are really conversation starters, and this is again why we need to come together as an industry, so we can talk to the suppliers of color and see how we can get them to help us with disposing of waste and help us with reducing what we're wasting in the first place.
Yeah, absolutely. And then another tip is to change to biodegradable, compostable towels, gowns and capes. Fry, do you know whether that is better, or does it depend on your salon?
Yeah, I think it will depend on your circumstances, because if you can, for example, have the room to air dry your towels, that would have an impact versus tumble drying them. But there is certainly a case for them. We're actually doing some independent research at the moment that will look at all aspects of where the towels are from, how the materials were grown, were they ethically sourced in the first place, how far did they travel, and then we'll compare that to the current situation of washing and drying and all those other elements as well. Water, like Gina said as well. So there's a lot to delve into. You can follow along the journey on our blog, on our website, and we'll publish the results to everyone once we finish that as well.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Thank you. Because Nicola, do you prefer to use towels, or have you been trialing compostable towels?
We have before the lockdown, we did have we went for some disposable towels, and it was quite a mixed reaction from clients and from staff. Some clients weren't happy because they felt like it caused more waste. The office felt like it was more expensive. So Fry, that would be an amazing observation from you guys to sort of give us more of an indication of whether it was more sustainable to use those or not. So that would be that. I think this is what is great about this situation, is that it's stuff that we wouldn't necessarily have. Like Anne says, we haven't got the time to go into all of these the backgrounds of where these things come from and how we use them. You know, little things that I've done in my salon, I mean, minute things like what Fry said about, you know, we stopped ordering bottled waters, plastic bottled waters. We've got glass bottled waters, things like that, just tiny things that without any sort of research is little things that we've done ourselves. Maybe not using disposable gloves, everybody having like 2 pairs of plastic gloves that they have to keep and look after themselves. I mean, we did what Tabitha said a long time ago. Yeah, we did and also as well disposable aprons, you know, all that we want to stop. So we did do the box with the tints in it, and that was more of a financial thing rather than an environmental thing. So I think that would probably please a lot of salon owners, because, you know, like I said, it's the worry of, is it going to cost me a lot more money to be sustainable? But it's also, you know, I think as long as you've got like maybe a younger member of the team that's like your sort of eco kind of warrior, it gets everybody involved, you know. But I think it has to start from the top. You've got to be involved from that price point. And also as well, I think think of it of a way of saving money as a salon.
Yeah, well, exactly. It makes economic sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And then there's also moving to more sustainable and ethical product suppliers. There's a lot of brands now that offer ethically and sustainably sourced products and packaging. In terms of packaging, there is still a debate about which materials are the most sustainable, though. So whether that's advanced plastics, reclaimed plastics, glass, or aluminium. And then, as we've said about the disposing of waste safely, and reducing single-use plastic, which we were just saying with regards to things like the plastic aprons and the gloves. So basically choosing products with no plastic packaging. I mean, you know, is that something that you could do, you could even think about doing moving forward? Anne, is that something that you would be able to think about doing?
Yeah, I mean, it's really to demand from your supplier, making sure, like, for example, I ordered the loo paper from this company called who gives a crap? And it's all it's all wrapped up, and no glue is involved in the whole process, and no, it's all in cardboard and so on. So it's to really do a bit of research, because the information is out there, and making sure you are partnering with suppliers who are also doing their bit to make sure their packaging and so on fit what you want to do. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And what about card and paper in salons? Surely that could be phased out.
Yeah, I mean, we are in a digital world today. And for example, we've stopped printing price lists ages, and now we have a PDF, so a QR code. When a client comes in, she wants to know how much we charge. We just tell her, well, you can download the PDF, and you know, we don't print anything, and we stopped that years ago. But if you do have to print, again, make sure you partner with a printer who will be ethical and making sure their ink is biodegradable and so on, because they are out there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And then there's the sustainable cleaning as well of the salon. So does anybody have any favorite cleaning products?
I do. There's an amazing range that's based in London called Tincture. You can buy subscriptions from them and get the products in really good prices. They're absolutely fantastic. I did a lot of research in this area, because there is, again, a lot of greenwashing, and some of the obvious brands are not always what you might think. So this brand is a home, you know, it's a British company based in London. They have beautiful packaging. It looks lovely in the salon. It is truly, truly natural, and they went to a lot of trouble. The founder, actually, her children were sick from the cleaning products that she was using, because she was an obsessive cleaner in her home, and realized that all 3 of her kids were sick because of the cleaning ingredients in different ways. So she went on this big journey, and these products are absolutely amazing. So I say they're all refillable. Her bottles, you can refill 1,000 times, and they've got colloidal silver in the plastic to enable them to be reused over and over and over again, so that they don't contain germs. It's all very clever stuff.
Wow, that sounds amazing. Thank you for that. And then in terms of saving water as well, there are several shower heads now, aren't there? Like eco heads. Is that a shower head that you put on to sort of stop the water flowing so fast?
It reduced the flow of water, because a normal flow is 15 litres per minute. And if you use an eco head, it's 3 litres per minute, which of course makes a big difference. So definitely.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to add to that also, it makes the water, it adds air in it. So you're not reducing your pressure, you're just reducing your water use.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really interesting. And then, Gina, you, as you said, your team are certified, but we were also talking about, you know, it's really important to get your team involved and make a sustainability plan. And, you know, and then create these sort of quick wins. And it's really important that the team are interested in doing this at work, then that makes them interested in doing it at home. And then they're able to tell their friends and their family about it. And then everybody sort of discusses it a bit more, and it's more conversational and more of a normal thing to do.
Yeah, definitely. So we encourage everybody to do their carbon footprint, because I thought I was so sustainable and that I was doing all the right things. And then I thought, I'm really going to do this now. And I did my carbon footprint, so I knew where I was at, had a baseline. And I thought, whoa, I'm still so far from where I need to be. And that's what really, really set me up for this sustainable journey. And so then we came to the salons, and I looked at my sustainability, and I made a plan. We literally walked through everything and looked at, you know, absolutely everything that we could do. But I can't do this alone, and you guys can't do this alone, and your teams need to be on board. So I created my own pledge to the planet. And now all of my team also have their own pledge to the planet. So that, yeah, it's very cool. Like, you know, it could be just as little things like starting to walk to work rather than take the bus even, or I'm going to eat meat only twice a week now instead of, 7 nights a week. And, I'm only going to source my food from the local market. So everything that they can do. And if they're doing it, they're buying into it, they're talking to their guests about what they're doing. Obviously, we use Green Salon Collective as well. So we have a really cool story about what we're doing with their hair. Fry will tell you about some other amazing things that they do with the foil. Fry, please tell them about that. It makes me so happy to know that we're, giving to these incredible charities by, they using the foil in new and innovative ways. And so, yeah, Lisa, as you say, it's educating, starting with us, and then our teams, and then their families, and then their clients, and then the clients' families. And then next thing you know, hopefully we've created this big wave of change.
Yeah, that's so amazing, Gina. Fry, do you want to tell us about the what are they called? Sorry,
the foils and yeah. Well, like for us, we're all about finding circular economy solutions. The reason that we have lines and a circle in our logo is to represent that, because unfortunately our industry since day one has been linear. So we take from nature and then it goes into landfill, and foil is a good example of that, because if you're a hairdresser in the UK and Ireland watching this, up until 2020 when we launched, every piece of foil and color tube that you've ever used is in landfill or has been incinerated. And not only are we able to 100% recycle these materials, we actually can make money from it, because they're essentially commodities. Aluminium can be recycled forever. Paper is a commodity. Plastic is a commodity. And last year alone, we were able to, just from these commodities, to give over £7,000 to charities like Haircuts for the Homeless. We were able to essentially purchase over 2,000 meals for Food Cycle and fund rewilding projects. And all of these narratives that we have as Green Salon Collective members, they all get passed on to your guests, and that builds a really stronger story for you as a salon, because you're able to take this conversation of, if you're not a hairdresser, you've probably asked the hairdresser, what do you do with all of that hair? And it used to be a really annoying question for us hairdressers, because we would say, well, we just chuck it in the bin. And now there's literally 10 different ways that we recycle hair, and people almost wish they never asked because we can tell them all these different things that we do. So yeah, I think that answers your question about what we do with.
Can you just tell us a couple of the things that you do with hair?
Yeah, so things like gardening and composting have been sort of commonplace for a while, as has cleaning up like oil spills. But if you compare the amount of hair that we generate versus the amount of oil spills we have in the UK, that's not like a really sustainable solution. So we've been working on regenerative biomanufacturing, and we've been able to combine hair with the root structure of fungus, and we've created almost like a plasterboard type material, which has been really interesting. We've mixed hair with wool to create twine for gardening and hanging baskets. With another research partner, we've made rope and felt and architecture and art and dresses and all sorts of things. So there's no end of possibilities for hair. Obviously, if it's long, it will be wig, but everything else we have a use for as well. Even short boarding people like me can have their hair recycled.
And can you just tell us why it's so good for compost as well?
Yeah, so hair is incredibly rich in nitrogen.
Yeah.
I think up to about 16% of hair is nitrogen. Nitrogen, when in the soil, is a building block for the amino acids, which then become protein. So I would always say to people having their hair cut, actually take your haircut home with you and put it in your pot plants, and it will be like a supercharged fertilizer. Going back to Gina's thing on water, the hair in that plant will absorb any extra moisture, and then that will then feed back up into the plant as well. So yeah, we've actually already grown food from hair. There's a good chance that one of you out there is eating an apple that's been grown from our hair.
Wow, oh, that's brilliant. Thank you, Fry. So just to finish then, and Tabitha, I know that you've spoken about this already, but do you just want to explain again that hairdressers are in a powered position as they can advise customers how to also be sustainable at home? And that's obviously a massive part of the thing.
I do. I really think so. I think it's really important for us to recognise, you know, as I said earlier, we're in this amazing privileged position with our clients. We get to have first-hand conversations. We know them. We have relationships with people. We are in such a great position to share great ideas. So we can start with their hair, and we can start by sharing that we're sustainable in the way that we're working. That obviously has a knock-on effect. You know, when people change their hair care to a sustainable product, then they think, well, what else could I change in my personal care routine? Maybe I can look at my makeup. Maybe I can look at my body washes. Maybe I can look at what I clean within my home. All of this has a massive knock-on effect. And if we really are going to have an impact and save the planet, and actually, let me just rephrase that, because if we think about it, we're not really saving the planet, are we? And this is really about saving us so that we get to remain on this planet, you know, for our children and our grandchildren. I think it's really important that we recognise we are in a very powerful position to come together and then to share that with the people that we love to look after every day. So, you know, let's do this. Let's come together and show the world that we can really lead the way as the British hairdressing industry.
Thanks so much, Tabitha. And thank you, everybody, for talking. It's been a really interesting conversation. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. If you have any questions, please send them over to myself or one of the panel, and we will do our best to get back to you. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Nicola.
Thank you.
Thank you.